Welcome to Relay.
You're not.
I'm not. I'm definitely not. But
I don't
hey,
think you've ever been sorry, David.
yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Star Citizen is a scam. Everyone get out right now. Sorry, I had to do that.
It's
I had to
okay.
do that.
I understand. First, I'm gonna pour myself a little bit of Guinness here, because it's St. Patrick's Day today. So happy St. Patrick's Day today. I hope everyone drinks heavily while watching the numerous podcasts that are going on. This one currently, and then in a couple of hours, Mr. Paul below here will be hosting a podcast of his own, the Astro Pub, and I do believe I'll be on there drinking as well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Here's my incredibly green hat. It's so green, it's see-through.
It is.
I don't see a hat, just a white band in midair.
It's
Yeah, it
excellent.
is.
Yes, it's
Love it.
really cold in this basement right now, so I'm wearing my Star Wars bathrobe. Now, it's time for the intro. Before anyone yells at me, this is entirely Nakara's fault. So blame him.
Okay.
It must be nice to have Nekara on your side. It must be nice to have Shiver here by your side. Look down at the Astro Pub. It's Paul. He's really all right. It's really quite nice to have all of you here by my... Somebody has to stand up for us now. Somebody has to stand up to their mouths. If there's a feature you're trying to espouse, you can't get it in from outside the house. We're in the alpha. We're playing for testing. We're playing for bugs. We're not playing for questing. If messing with testing's not what you're impressing, then stop second guessing and bitching and just get the fuck out. So, welcome to the relay station.
Paul's like, huh.
Yeah.
Do I leave now or in 30 seconds? I love your background there, Paul.
Yeah.
You're
I
doing a
don't
little
think-
heavy drinking today.
It's not actually kegs. Those are all just maple syrup in the background.
Did you move to Canada?
Yes, I'm actually living inside the Canadian syrup reserve. They hired me on to be a security guard.
Slash caster?
Yeah, exactly. They needed some boosts. So I'm here to say, hey, all of you non-Canadians, as a non-Canadian, you should have maple syrup from Canada. It's the best.
Is your last name Bunyan?
Just so you know, Canada does in fact have a strategic maple reserve.
Maple syrup reserve. Yep.
Yep. It is an important part of the Canadian economy.
Yes, it is.
In fairness, Italy can base a lot of its economy on extra virgin olive oil. So,
And Parmesan.
Also, another fun fact that people may not know is that the United States, for about 100 years, or almost 100 years, had a strategic helium reserve.
Really?
Yeah.
For
Then it
I
ran
don't
out.
blame them.
Yeah, well, it's for a lot of things because helium's used for lots of different manufacturing processes as well as just like blimps and such.
It's also used for rockets and missiles.
Mm-hmm. And the problem about it is that it ran out in 2010, and that's if you notice that there's some things that prices are going up for some things, it's because helium is no longer kept artificially low by the reserve. It's now much higher.
quite
Like
high,
you used
isn't
to
it?
always see the people, well, at least here anyway, you used to always see the people at the malls handing out helium balloons to kids, and that
Yeah.
never happens anymore because helium's stupidly expensive.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Inflation.
Oh,
Desmarius, helium. Oh, Jesus. I just caught that. But no, helium is actually not super dangerous. It's hydrogen that's super dangerous.
Yeah.
Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluoride, neon.
And we're also losing helium at not a massive rate, but it is escaping to space pretty easily.
you
like
can,
we
you
are.
Can, you can make it though.
Yeah, you can.
Somebody will eventually
it's
come up
just
with a good
expensive.
business making lots of it.
It's just too expensive right now. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the
Tying
Relay
this-
Station, where we
Tying
talk.
this back into Star Citizen, helium is going to be one of those things you harvest
Yes,
in 3.3 or 3.2.
likely
see?
in the tanks of a Starfare.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah. What? We.
Oh, I get it now,
Yeah.
Desmarius. There's a little too much stretching there, but yeah.
So, I guess we've got a few things that we could talk about today.
Wait, we actually talk about things?
No,
I didn't think
but
so.
we're gonna go over to. Did I get these all right? Oh, I did. Sweet. But Shiver's name is off to the side. Let's fix that. Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering. Shiver's kind of hanging off the edge of the screen there. I'm not really
I
sure.
kind of had to do the names after we started. I kind of guessed them, but I guessed right, so that's awesome. So we're gonna go to show and tell, and I'm doing this a slightly different way. But as always for the past like 4 or 5 shows now, thanks go to Haramis for doing all of these gifts and sending them
Yes,
to me
thank you,
so that I
Haramis.
can. But I'm trying this a different way, so we'll see what happens. We'll go to show and tell.
It'll obviously explode.
Oh, that great.
Yep.
All of those are messed
Exploded.
up. What in the world? I mean,
No, it's Star Citizen. What out of the world?
the GIF is working fine. It's just, everyone's faces aren't.
Oh, look at that. That's
Did
that's
you-
good.
Eh.
That's easy to fix.
Is it?
Yes.
That's good. Also, my dear lord, does that ship ever look good?
Yeah,
Which one?
it looks great.
The Reclaimer?
Yes.
I also just to get ahead of this, because a lot of people I'm sure have already set way too high standards for themselves in terms of what the Reclaimer is. It probably won't do much except for be pretty. Even Disco Lando himself said it's not going to do much. It's just going to look pretty because there's no salvaging in 3.1.
Well, it's
So get your
You
freak
can,
out
like-
now if you're a Reclaimer owner. You can't do anything with your pretty Reclaimer, and it's probably mostly going to be busted.
Yep. They were actually talking about that. They have some really weird bugs with it because it was made much more bespoke than most ships recently.
I do have a
Well,
question
goddamn
about
it,
that. Okay.
I'll drink to bespoke.
It's bespoke's one of those words. It's not like a fidelity and immersion. I'm Shiver apparently,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
Eris is now Paul.
Yeah. This is the first time so Discord video now works. This is our first time doing this without being on Skype. So everything's a little different. I do apologize for that. I've just put us wherever. Our names don't matter, right?
One of the things I noticed actually that I quite like is I look way better because I'm no longer like this super fuzzy little square.
Yes.
From Skype.
The video quality.
Before I
on-
was like, I have this really high quality camera, and I'm getting like,
Look at Shiver. You
Oh,
can
boy.
tell that it's better connection because you can actually see Shiver.
Yeah,
I'm so
Like-
sorry.
I know it's pretty bad, but
and when you move, it's not like watching Star Citizen gameplay. It's actually like watching the camera.
yeah, no. I'm loving being able to actually do this on Discord video. It's still going to take some tweaking, but hey, improvements.
better.
So let's talk about the Reclaimer, which is what's being shown here.
Did we
Why
all-
does
Did
anyone?
we all fall in love with the Reclaimer as much as Susan likes it?
I'll talk later. I think David should be the first one to take this since he's the most in love with it.
I mean, I am possibly, but I mean, if
Easy there, garbage woman. Easy there.
hey, she is possibly my greatest creation yet. But I've got a few
What's
things.
Garbage Woman?
I hate you. Garbage
It's a
Woman
piece
is
of fan fiction that he wrote himself, available over on relay.sc if you want to read it yourself.
One, I do question why anyone would think that the Reclaimer will have anything to do in the game, because look at the Starfarer. The Starfarer still doesn't have anything to do, and it's been in for how long?
Like a year or more.
The ship
I
doesn't.
still get lost.
I will say, however, the Starfarer is great if you want to drop Grey Cats out the back of it at suborbital velocity.
Yes,
Fair enough.
but
Um,
the Starfarer is great for emergent gameplay, and that's likely what the Reclaimer will be good for as well.
It's going to be a great ramming ship early on. It's going to be one of those ships you just fly into other ships and not give a fuck. It's going to be the new. CIG can claw their way out of the newest iteration and claim the rightful place in game. Oh god, it's terrible. I would expect this. The claw's not going to work. Half of the systems.
They've already said it. They already said the claw doesn't work right now.
Okay, so
I highly doubt that the drones will work. Remote operated turrets will be interesting because I don't even think regular turrets work yet, much less remote operated ones.
Well, to be fair, I think the regular turrets don't work a lot, mostly because the FPS is so shitty.
Yes.
There's some bugs that we discovered in 3.0.1 that we found ways around it. For instance, the reason why turrets are having trouble is because what you have to do is you have to unlock the ship, get out, let the person get into the turret, have them go up to the turret, turn on the turret, then the pilot has to get into the pilot seat, turn on the ship.
Really?
Yeah, it's that whole process is how it gets to get the turret working. Once that, then you can move the turret, you can fire the turret, and all that kind of stuff. So
weird.
It's just because the multi-crew stuff isn't implemented fully yet. So.
Yeah, exactly.
My one complaint about the Reclaimer is I know it's like a dirty, grungy salvage ship, but I think they went a bit overboard with the grunge in some points. Like it looks like someone just walked up to a wall and peed on it. This is a spaceship.
That is.
But this is a spaceship. It's not a bus station.
Well, it was inspired by the Nostromo, and if you look at the Nostromo, it very much looks like that. The kind of looks like it's been used for 400 years, and some jackass peed on the side, at one point because he's too drunk to get back to his bunk, and then no one really noticed it until it started yellowing, and then by that point it already seeped into the upholstery. So it's like, well, fuck, now it's going to cost us $200 to get that shit out, or it's a Reclaimer. We're not going to deal with it. That's what it looks like. My problem, though, I agree with you, is that if someone purchased a Reclaimer, they shouldn't.
It shouldn't look like this.
No, it shouldn't look like this at all. It should be brand fucking new off the goddamn assembly line. But I think that's because they have to get the wear and tear in. But
that's fine.
I honestly think that the ones that we get now might look like this, but I think once the game is done, you'll have the option to buy one that is brand spanking new.
Well, everything that costs money, like real world money, hard cold cash, should be brand spanking new on the inside, unless the user has otherwise said so, because paid for brand new shit.
It can still look dingy industrial without having a dirty tea towel and a coffee stain on the floor. And
this GIF that's repeating right now, when it gets to the point where they're looking at the hallway and there's those white pads on the hallway, they should all be white. Like the rest of it's fine. There's steam coming out. That's fine. That's part of the ship. But that stain right there below the window, what the hell is that?
I have a feeling also that a lot of this stuff is naturally weathered because the ships, if they end up in Squadron 42, like we know the Reclaimer is, will have to have a bit of wear and tear to them because they're supposed to be used.
So one of the things that immediately came to mind when we started talking about this was the line from Guardians of the Galaxy. Where he's like, if you got a black light, this place.
But his ship still looks cleaner than this.
And I agree, super serious in terms of like they intentionally grunged it up to give it some sort of character. And the answer is that's great for Squadron 42, and I think that's in mainly what they're talking about is Squadron 42 when it comes to like.
I just think I think that it might be like this for a while. I just think in the final game they'll probably give you the option to change the weathering state of your ship.
I would like to
give you the option. I think they'll just change it and then you can naturally weather it if you want.
I would like to buy it brand spanking new, no stains, no anything. I'd like it to get progressively more dingy, like and not like as I use it, it gets dingy, but like at 10 hours of flight with the Reclaimer, its interior changed to a bit dirtier. And at 20 hours, it's a bit dirtier. And at 30 hours, whatever. But then I also want to be able to like pay a shit ton of money to have a super good cleaning crew come in.
That's
and
supposed to
clean-
be in the game. They've talked about it before.
No, Senor Eris, he's not here.
Aries not here. We want more lemon pledge.
I
More lemon
speak good
pledge.
English. I learned it from a book.
The one bit of weathering I really did like from the gifts that we saw was the component like thing where you slide it open. It already had like scratches on it from when it's like it's been slid
Yes.
open 1,000 times by other people. I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm looking forward to that in terms of like when they actually get weathering in, which is actually soon.
Yeah.
If I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
this what is it? Is it actually
3.2 maybe?
No, it's before the 3.3. It was pretty soon.
Like 3.2 probably then.
I'll find out. You guys talk.
Does
As,
anyone?
as always, don't expect the weathering to come in at once. It's
Oh,
going to
no.
be one of those things where it's like some ships will get weathering and some ships won't, or they all will get a tiny bit of weathering, and it's just going to be like, hey, you've used it for 15 minutes. Now it's dusty.
Turk.
Thank you, Shadenturk.
Thank you.
Turk.
I'm tumbling,
Now, does anyone else think that
tumbling,
this
tumbling.
thing, when it's like landing or like, does anyone else think it looks like a termite?
Nope.
No, but it does look like a bug because of that huge thorax on its
Yeah,
back.
like it looks
Yep.
like some kind of insect.
You know what
I
it looked like to
love
me? It's kind of like a jumping spider landing.
You remember
Yeah,
the
it-
Matrix? The machines had that thing that would land on the hovercraft,
Yeah.
and they'd be like,
Yeah.
Okay, so it is 3.2, and it says wear and tear, the ability to add age, wear, and misfire to ship components and weapons.
Nice.
So that is the June patch.
Yeah, and so that means we're probably going to go to something like Dumpers Depot in June and be like, "Hey, you can buy this brand new, Joker Sucker Punch cannon for 1,500 UEC, or you can buy a slightly used one for 800 UEC."
Yeah.
And then you
It's,
have
it's got a chunk missing out of it. Yeah, I know.
yeah, but it works.
As long
And
as
they
it's,
also
as
said
long
like
as it goes
misfire,
pew,
so
pew.
it could also. Because it's old and because it's refurbished, it could always go pew boom and blow up your ship.
which would
Blow
be
off your wing.
amazing. Or
Yeah.
anything plugged into a Drake ship should just go pew automatically.
Pew.
Pew.
Drake is wonderful.
Drake is
Drake
the
is
worst.
wonderful, and their I don't give a shit about regulations and for
Yeah.
people. I
I'm
want
just-
money.
You guys talk for a bit. I'm just gonna watch the landing gear and the arms.
Oh my god. They did such a good job with the landing gear.
Considering
That
it's
is incredible.
super custom, then you're never going to see it on another ship because
Yep.
they said themselves like it took them so fucking long to get the landing gear right because everything
Yep.
else is going to be very stock standard.
But it was one of those things, it's like they couldn't change it because it's such an iconic part of the ship. They're
Yeah,
just like, we
yeah.
have to make it work. It's just
Mhm.
gotta
but
work.
it does. I mean, it does mean that they've got that done, and in the future they can have a look and say, well, this would look kind of cool if we added this system, this ship, or this thing.
hmm But I don't. I think what's going to happen is that they probably modified the capital ship landing gear that they originally had to make it work like that because I think
Possibly.
that's probably
have
what
to
the
do some-
Idris uses.
This
They have to do
right
some
here.
weird things.
This is my favorite. Where it
The
lands,
flex.
where it lands and it flexes, and the bottom hits the sand, and there's the top of
Yeah.
just
love it.
just so perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that happens now in 3.0. Like if you
Okay,
if you jump-
wait a second.
if you
I
drop
just
something down, a
realized
tuft of hand goes. Poof.
I just realized that's an outpost in front of it.
Yes.
Yes, that is an outpost. That kind of shows you the size. Like those of you who got lost in Starfarers, good fucking luck.
Holy fuck.
I think
is
Haramis and I
huge.
were actually talking about this earlier, and I think we talked about this a little bit last cast as well. When 3.1 comes out, I don't care. We're doing a relay walk. Everyone hang out in a reclaimer party and just spawn a reclaimer and everyone hang out in the bloody reclaimer because Jesus.
Yeah,
It
no,
is-
the reclaimer actually looks like some sort of weird creature that came out of Australia.
yes. Yep.
It came to eat you.
Yeah.
One of the things actually, this just popped into my head because we saw the outpost there. On Calling All Devs this week, they were talking about outposts, and one of the questions was whether we would ever get any bigger outposts. And the very emphatic answer was no. An outpost is an outpost. It's not like a giant factory or something. Outposts will be small, but then they'll have like villages and like towns and like things, and those villages and towns will have bigger buildings.
But
But outposts are outposts.
yeah,
they're little.
the buildings in a village or town also won't look like an outpost, because an outpost is
No.
a tiny little thing, right?
Yeah, and so like for instance, that's the thing. That's the key. Is it's also too important to put this in there. Is that people are thinking when they're building something like the Pioneer that they're thinking outposts is what they'll build. The answer is that the Pioneer. One of the things they've been talking about, obviously, if you've seen them discussing a lot of this stuff, is that the outposts aren't going to be the only thing that the Pioneer builds. It will also be able to build towns and villages and other. It's not just boop. I've got an outpost, but like a village or a town is going to also have modular buildings. It just won't look like something like the outpost, which is designed heavily inspired by like actual NASA concepts for like Mars habs.
Yeah. But they also, I mean, if you think about factories, they've talked about how you'll be able to stake land, and the land will be worth stuff based on what minerals are on underneath the land, and the entire that will be mapped out, and so you'll build factories on top of land that is more valuable to build it on. So you're gonna need them for that as well. I don't know.
It's awesome. I just realized, but I was watching this GIF, and they just sort of. I looked at the GIF a bunch of times, and I was focused on the Reclaimer. I'm like, man, that landing gear looks good, and then I was just like, that's an outpost. Holy shit!
I love watching how the arm part of it sucks into the body.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just
Yeah.
it goes. Oh, okay.
One
Sorry.
thing I want to know now, no one ever mentions this, sadly, but the sound of the damn thing when it comes into land, I really want to hear that, because that needs to be a big dramatic thing, and really set off the subwoofer in your face. Yeah.
Yep.
Now this gift to me is almost embarrassing to watch, but also perfect.
I love this one. This one's my favorite.
It like slides in on an angle and tries to land, but like can't almost. It's great.
Someone was mentioning the guys running Portalis are probably not that thrilled with that landing.
Yeah.
Scrape up the deck. But I love that it can land like that. Like for so long, if you tried to land a ship like that in Star Citizen, it would just bounce off,
Yeah.
flying back into space. The fact that it can do that, like that slide and how it settles back, it's great.
So I think
You can
we're
do that
about,
with some ships. You had to come at it like literally at its angle. Otherwise, you just.
pew. I think we're about done with the Reclaimer here, but what do you all think of the Reclaimer before we move on to whatever the hell else was in ATV? I don't even know.
Cyclone. Cyclone.
Who cares?
Cyclone's pretty cool.
Cyclone.
I care.
Cyclone.
I care.
Cyclone.
How can you care about anything other than this majestic ape-like insect?
Because I don't give a shit about the Reclaimer, except for the fact that it's a larger vessel.
I think I'm going to have to ask you to leave now.
Well, it's
Bangshell
great.
just said during the sliding motion when it lands, it should give off sparks. And
Yes.
Yes, it should.
It will in the end, but that they have talked about that system.
Actually,
using,
Maybe not in space.
It depends. I was just about
Maybe
to
not-
say,
maybe not in
if there's
space,
nothing if there's
Light.
nothing to ignite, it might not.
It should give off debris, though.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, depends.
Maybe,
I will say-
Maybe the surface is made of like super titanium.
Sorry for a
the
second. I have to
same
unmod Ghost.
the same system that is used to kick up dust particles when a ship lands on the planet is going to be the same system, or should be, maybe, I imagine.
I
the
think
same
it kinda
system that's gonna
is.
Kick up particles.
Okay,
Yeah,
no,
it
hang on.
I think-
I'm
yeah,
interrupting
hang
all
on,
of you
at least one point.
because fuck you all for a second. Hang on.
Listen,
The Cyclone is a little tiny piece of shit that they've added recently. Think about where the Reclaimer came from and what it means. The Reclaimer was really the first indication that we got that this game would include more than shooting and refueling. The Reclaimer is like where my love of Star Citizen came from. It is where it expanded what Star Citizen was going to be capable of. It is the first ship.
Cyclone.
The Cyclone's a piece of shit land vehicle. We've got like 14 others.
It was the first it's the first wheeled land vehicle that's not just a lumbering rover or a space bike. It's the first only dedicated land vehicle that was sold independently of anything else.
Whatever. We already had a rover and we had 2 space bikes. The Reclaimer
Look,
was like
I imagine a Reclaimer just in atmospheric flight and a Cyclone in front of it shooting up at it. You'd think you were watching Terminator, man.
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
I seriously think that the Reclaimer is the most important ship in the Star Citizen line of ships. It's the one that kickstarted more and started more. Anyone who doesn't like the Reclaimer is a bad person.
I will say it's not that I dislike the Reclaimer. I just don't care about the Reclaimer because it's not anything to do with how I want to play. It's interesting and adds depth to the world, which is great. But at the same time, the only real big thing that this actually does for the game beyond, because it doesn't add salvage yet, it will eventually. But the big thing that it actually does is that it shows that the game can handle mega large ships.
Yeah,
this is the first mega large ship. It's like
huge.
the Starfarer and the Caterpillar are big, but this is freaking size compared to a fucking outpost.
This is basically capital ship size. Like it is.
Yeah.
It's going to use capital ship items.
It's easily the same size as a Hammerhead,
Yeah.
you know, or Polaris. Like damn near close, if not as big. So
What
you're saying is they need to make
It
the
also-
Polaris bigger?
It also has one of the largest like vertical heights of any ship. It is very like its volume is enormous.
it
It's a box.
has 5 stories.
It's just massive.
There's an elevator inside with, look at that, salvage balcony, salvage processing, salvage hold, cargo hold.
Wow. One of the things I love about this ship is they managed to make a ship that is not combat related very imposing and scary looking.
I'm just,
Like,
you know what? One of
I
these
don't
days,
really want to fight a Reclaimer.
one of these days, Paul, you're going to be in verse, and your ship's going to be destroyed, and you're going to set off a beacon, like an emergency beacon, for someone to come, and you and your stream are going to be like, oh yeah, we're just going to wait here for someone to show up and rescue us. Let's see what happens, and a Reclaimer is going to float in.
and just eat the rest of my ship's remnants and float away. That's what it's going to do.
Yep.
You. And everyone's going to watch you fall into those grinders.
You do realize that they've also confirmed that can't happen, right?
I don't care. I'll make it happen.
There's one thing I'm left to wonder about the Reclaimer.
What's that?
How pretty is the explosion when you blow it up?
Ooh.
Didn't they show that? I don't think I've got a GIF of that.
No, I don't think they showed it yet.
They didn't show it
I
this
didn't
week.
think so.
Okay.
Oh, and
I don't
being
know.
on
I
the
don't think I've seen
inside
it.
when it is going as well, that would be pretty damn cool.
Is that one of the cargo boxes for the Claimer that you're showing off right now?
This one here?
The one that's showing on screen right now is the bug. Now,
No, that's
I don't know what
yeah.
it
There's
is.
the bug, and then this is, I don't know, some kind of a room. I'm not entirely sure what.
Oh, the bug one looked like it was like one of those Constellation style like cargo loads.
It is, but it's
Yeah.
for the Reclaimer. But there's a bug right now where as soon as the elevator leaves the Reclaimer's physics grid, it
Yeah.
loses all physics collision, and you can
Hey,
fly
it's
right
very-
through it.
That's very similar to what's wrong with the Constellation though. It says the same thing where like it doesn't lose collision, but once it leaves the physics grid, it's impossible to use it to get up.
Look at that console just lower down. Oh yeah. Oh, it's so good. And the arm.
course,
Look at the arm on the chair lower down too. Man.
I'm still waiting for these things to show up on the stream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
now
You
they
guys
just-
There
are,
we go.
sorry,
That's
you're a
better.
bit delayed.
We are delayed. Oh, that is
It
pretty.
means I get to talk about it,
That
and
is
then
pretty.
you guys can see it and talk. You know, I can't say anything until I'm done. It's great. I love it.
That's
I gotta give
that's,
it huge,
that's a
huge
new
props
helmet.
to. I gotta give huge props to the animators. Like they do such a great job of this stuff.
New helmet?
Yeah, it's a new helmet.
Yeah, I
Look
don't
at
think I've seen that helmet before either.
I have to say that man is sitting very, very poorly. He has terrible posture.
You just relax. That's all.
You don't always have the right posture there, Mr. Dave. I think we killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Reclaimer is an amazing ship. I think that's sort of our.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
I wouldn't be
Consensus.
willing to pay real money for one, but I definitely want to see one, walk around one, maybe buy one in game just to own it.
so. How do you guys think the
But I want to blow
drone?
it up more.
There's supposed to be drones, right?
Mhm.
Now
Yep.
there are going to be salvage drones and also I think point defense. Now is point defense a
don't-
No,
drone?
point
or
defense-
is the turrets.
No, the point defense is turrets, and I think they've removed the point defense to be remotely operated turrets or something like that. I don't know if
Ah,
the point defense exists anymore. I think they were talking about doing point defense for a long time, and I think they've started to back down from point defense because point defense is they'd have to build a brand new system for it. Because
I'm
the idea of
going-
point defense is to shoot down missiles. And
Yeah. Now I've gone back to another GIF. Now, if you look at the top of the Reclaimer, you can see a ginormous turret, and I'm wondering if that one is also going to be drone operated because I think there's two on the side, but the one on the top is a big turret.
they're all about the same size. I think it's just the perspective is weird.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, there's it. How many people is the Reclaimer supposed to hold? 4, 5?
You can solo it. You can solo a reclaimer.
you
it's just
can.
very difficult.
one of the things they did talk
can
about
also-
quite a bit is that it was a very hands-on ship
Mhm.
that required lots of operators. I think it has. I mean, you can solo it. You just need NPCs.
Mhm.
It has what is it? It has a captain's quarters and then room for 4 people in the habitation area. So 5.
So 5 would be for a recommended crew.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because you have 3 turrets, maybe a pilot, a co-pilot, and an engineer.
Well, you have somebody who has to run the claw. Like it actually
Yeah.
has like a pilot seat for the claw.
That'd be
And you
like
have
a
someone to
co-pilot.
fly-
Yeah.
Yeah, so you need someone to fly the ship. I think they were talking about drone operators as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah.
And you also, I mean, like you said, there are 3 turrets you have to operate, plus a claw operator, plus I'm sure someone who has to manage the stuff in the back as it's being processed, plus drone operators. So I'm sure that the
Lots of
turret
work.
operators have
Engineer.
to, and an engineer. So I'm sure there are a lot of people wearing many different hats. In that
Tractor
kind of
beams.
Oh yeah, thanks. The tractor
Yeah.
beam operators too. Yeah.
stuff. Tasha's right.
You're gonna need a chef for the galley.
Now,
You need a janitor because you need to have someone who's mopping up all the garbage and,
Yeah.
and cleaning that pee off the wall because Eris is obsessed with that pee on the wall.
I am. I love this
Scruffy,
size
He's
comparison.
a janitor.
Like, I love looking at
Wow.
the Starfarer next to the Reclaimer.
The Starfarer looks small compared to it.
Yeah. Like, well, I don't know. I think it's probably still going to be the case, but wasn't it a long fucking time ago now? Probably 3 years. When they first announced the Reclaimer, they were saying that one Reclaimer should be able to ingest a Connie.
Yeah.
It still should.
It's just like you look at a Connie's quite a large ship, to be honest.
It's important to understand that salvage is going to be broken into twofold. You're essentially going to find stuff that it's not broken. So like if one of the turrets gets blown off of a Connie, he has a chance to save the guns on the turret.
Yeah.
So if you're in a reclaimer, tractoring in some of those things and either hand welding them off or having another means to like having a
Mhm.
drone like rip it off and then pull it in, then that's that's what you would sell.
And
Anything
that would
you
go in
can't
your
sell,
that would
cargo
go in
bay,
your like
salvage
your cargo bay, and then
Yeah.
the rest of the shit.
you just dump it into your grinder and turn
Yeah.
it into recyclables. You know, so
So a lot of the gameplay around this ship will actually be you'll find derelicts, and before you do anything like ripping it to shreds, you'll go over to that ship and look for expensive components.
Yeah.
Things like
Like-
power cores,
shield
engines,
generators,
quantum drives,
yeah.
all that shit. You'll pull it all out, and then you just feed. Once all the components have been removed, you just feed the whole damn thing into your chipper at the back.
Which just requires scanning technology. It requires the actual systems to work, which they currently don't. Not really, at least. And lots of other things. So salvage is going to be very interesting. It's also important to note that the Reclaimer, I don't believe, will be able to salvage anything in the salvage when salvage is released, because
Yeah.
it's all hand-based.
I don't know.
I
let's
think you
see.
might be able to
Hand
tractor
or
stuff in with
claw?
it, but I don't know.
Well, they require tractor beams to work for 3.2.
Do we know when tractor beams are going to happen?
Okay, so this is what it actually says on the roadmap. Salvage scanning is in, which is the
Mhm.
ability to identify debris that could be salvaged. Salvage extraction is in, the ability to collect debris from wrecks and planets. And salvage processing is in, the ability to break down debris into component parts. And also salvage selling is in. So that leads me to believe the Reclaimer will work in at least a very basic form, because the salvage processing works.
Hey, Cyclone.
So
Sorry.
yeah, we've got a few minutes before question time, but before we hit question time, I mean they did also talk about the Cyclone this week. I do want to hang on give me 1 second. I'm loading up the question sheet. I need to see how many questions we have.
I've got a quick question for anyone who's watching, who's got a Cyclone and a HOTAS or a steering wheel. Which are you going to use, preferably, the steering wheel, or just stick with the HOTAS for the Cyclone?
Honestly, I don't have a steering wheel, but I will say I do have a 360, not 360, yeah, an old wired 360 controller. I'm going to use that because it's so much. You have so much more fine control with something like that than you would like a HOTAS. And I don't have a wheel, but the Cyclone almost makes me want to get a wheel just so I could drive a
Wheels.
Cyclone.
I have.
Like so much fun.
I don't have
Actually,
one,
Can I
but
just quickly say
go.
that would make me wonder, right? If you can use the wheel right now, so you'll be able to use the wheel with the Cyclone. Will it have all the forced feedback things and features in there? Is that software reliant or hardware reliant?
Software.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
CIG would have to program it in. As someone who has used a rather nice wheel, 6Fs and Caps got one for mainly for dirt in VR, but for other games in VR as well, and for just racing games, I would not use a wheel.
Why?
They don't feel like cars at all. Like you've got, because they don't like keep turning. You've got like this much turn and this much turn, and you're basically just doing this all the time, and the force feedback is just like fighting you. I personally don't like wheels.
How did you play it in more than one game?
Cheap it?
Oh yeah.
Could you cheap it with like some pulley systems, a round tray attached to a gamepad, and just have a mate either side, like tugging on the wheel opposite way when you're trying to steer?
Okay, so
Yes, you could.
Paul,
It sounds very ineffective.
this GIF right here specifically looks like a hell of a lot of fun. I'll wait for it to show up for you as well. But
It's the cargo run. Yeah, there we go.
the bouncing off of the rocks and
That's
stuff.
so awesome.
Yeah.
I
love this.
Is this kind of the thing that you're looking forward to the Cyclone for, to be able to like do this on stream and be like, I'm gonna go see what this thing does and see what can happen with it?
Kind of. What I'm looking forward to with something like this in terms of content, and I'm sure other content creators will echo this, is the ability to fly down on a ship and be like, oh, there's something off in the distance, but I can't get there because of an anomaly. Okay, pull out the cyclone and then just rip ass down the down the moon or the planet, and then like fishtailing the whole way to get there, because it's that hey, I'm playing Elite or Freelancer. Oh, now suddenly I'm playing Halo or PlanetSide. It's like that instant change that kind of shows you that how all-encompassing Star Citizen can be. Also, up till now, everything's been kind of odd in terms of ground vehicles. Like the Ursa's nice, but it's just slow, and the hover bikes are cool, but they're not there yet. They're still broken, and there's still a lot of problems they need to fix. Whereas this, it's kind of hard to fuck up ground-based vehicles in a game that's built for FPS ground-based vehicles. That's probably
Challenge
the reason
accepted.
why. Yeah, CIG, please no. And I have heard some people claim that they've been watching this footage and they said like, "Oh, it feels too floaty. It looks too floaty. It looks too
The
lightweight,
gravity is
bouncy."
low. You
It's super low gravity. We're talking like half the gravity of Earth or the moon.
I thought
in
that
some
was because
cases.
it had a Confederate flag painted on its roof.
Hang
No,
on,
it's
hang
the
on
go,
for a moment.
the Go faster stripes.
Just 1 second. I do have to remind people we're probably going to start questions in like 5 minutes. We've only got like 5 questions, so you know what happens if we run out of questions. I sing
for the rest of the
So,
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Ask some questions.
Don't run out of questions. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
One of the things-
I'm really excited about it, mostly because also they showed their cargo loading mechanic, and I'm really cool about like the idea that this thing can actually hold cargo.
Yep.
Thinking about it means they're going to go for bigger cargo than this tiny ass shit we have right now. So I'm happy for that.
One of the things I love about that and this specific vehicle is that it will make a lot of fetch quests fun. You're like, yes, I get to drive my Cyclone, and you go, yeah, like ripping across the surface to go get these crates that you need to get, which will be, a blast.
I've got a question. Looking at this vehicle, should it have a jump button?
Yes, why not? It should have. It is like as someone else said. It's
Go
supposed to
full
have
Mass
stabilizing-
Effect.
It's supposed to have stabilizing thrusters. It's supposed to have like
Yes.
Mako like.
Then yes, it needs a jump button.
So, and I don't think we've got any gifts that show the particular model that I really want to try.
They only have the base model in.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if I'm thinking back to pretty much my favorite part of Halo 1 was multiplayer, Blood Gulch,
Mm-hmm.
2 people in each Warthog just driving circles around each other, trying
Firing at each
ram
other.
firing it. That was fun.
And we're gonna get that.
We're gonna get
we're
that
gonna
with
get
the
that.
gunner.
Yeah.
Yep.
The best. Oh, and also the best part about this, if you guys notice that this GIF right here that you're showing, it has cargo in the back of it.
Yes.
Yes, it does. Yep. So one of the things I think would actually be really cool is to like in the verse, you're going to need people who you're going to hire to protect your land claims, right?
Yeah.
Especially ones that are in really high risk areas. You could totally outfit your mercenary dude with one of those cyclones with the missiles on it.
Yeah.
It'd just be like, you patrol my land claim and shoot down anybody who comes within like 10 kilometers of it.
If you guys played what is it called? Conan, the survival Conan game. Can't remember the name of it. Conan Exiles.
Yes.
I'm 100% expecting Conan Exiles style of gameplay when it comes to NPCs. Like, you have an NPC, you tell them defend this area, and then it just shoots anything that comes near.
Oh
So
shit!
like, oh look, it's the UEE coming.
No, I am
And
100%
missiles flying out.
Bluesy 0087 just won everything in my mind because
Pizza delivery.
once we have full cities, I want to be a pizza delivery person. Pizza delivery boy.
You got a painted
Alright.
pizza on the side of your Cyclone.
Hey, Eris, pizza coming out. Come on.
if the pizza isn't delivered in 30 light years or less, oh, shit, I
Light
can't
years are
remember the
not
rest
a
of the Star
measure
Wars
of
thing now.
time.
I know I was doing the Star Wars, the Kessel Run.
Yeah, and 30 parsecs
30
or less.
parsecs.
Oh,
That
Wow.
parsecs is just a mix of particle and second. It doesn't. Oh,
I actually read an article, and it was just purely for the cringe value. I read an article this week that was like, how many light years away is Mars?
Less than? Less
A
than?
point
Very,
point
very like.
0.0001.
And then they, so that
it's
was
better
in
to
the
s-
that was in the title, and then they never really addressed it at all in the article. It was just
Were they
like,
talking about time it's going to take us to get to Mars, or actual time it's going to take us to get to Mars? Like versus how long is it going to be till we get to Mars, or how long would it take to get to Mars?
It takes like
Both.
6 months to get to Mars.
they never really clarified in the article what they were talking about. It was just in the title, and I was like,
Well, hey, Nakar, didn't you hear that? What's his name?
Dean.
Kelly, I think his name was, came back from
Scott Kelly?
space. Yeah, Scott Kelly
Yep.
came back, and his DNA is completely changed. He and his brother.
It is not completely changed.
No, but that's what the headlines say.
I
Astronaut
know, but
comes
that's
back
not
from
what
space.
happened.
DNA is completely different from his twin.
His DNA did not
the
change at
fuck is
all.
going
For
on?
those of you who saw those headlines
Is
and
this
didn't
a point
think
and
any
click
more on this,
podcast?
I didn't hear you said Shiver, but yes. But for those of you who read those headlines and didn't think about it anymore, his DNA did not change. Period. He had very slightly modified gene expression. That's it. So
Which-
you have
which
way
is-
more genes. You have way more genes in your DNA
What,
than
did
it
Terrence
actually.
Levi's or something?
Yes. You have way more genes in your DNA than you actually your body actually expresses as actual things, like your hair color, or your eye color. His gene expression changed very slightly from his time on the International Space Station. His DNA did not completely alter, or he would be a frog.
Okay, we have.
What, you come back French?
Hey, Shiver, watch what you say to that, because we're in Canada, and saying
man.
something like that could get us put on a 10-second delay. Only
He's-
Eric.
Love it.
Only
love it.
Eric will get this.
Yeah.
Only Eric will get that joke, and I don't care. That's
I
a
would say
Canadian
Shiver
joke
is
for you.
British. Shiver is British. It's his God-given right to make fun of the French. So deal with it.
We're Canadian.
It is a tradition.
Hey,
It's
guess
a
what?
mutual respect thing.
No.
Yeah.
Shiver has like an ocean, a channel of an ocean separating him. Guess what I have? A little tiny river. I get to make fun of the French, Shiver,
with bridges across it.
with multiple bridges, like 3, and they're trying to add a 4th. But
The British built a giant tunnel between them and France,
That is
like a
true.
massive tunnel under this giant ocean.
why would
Do you know what the best
do
bit
that?
is? The French thought it was a good idea too, so they built the other half. And we were like, God, they thought this was a good idea.
Okay, it's time for questions. We've got 10 questions. 8 of them are from Fastcart. Thank you, Fastcart.
Thanks, Fastcart. You just really don't want to hear him sing.
So Bill Wilder, the original, this is from last week, said which Pixar movie is Rick Astley never going to lend to anyone? Can you sing the answer?
He's never
No.
going to give you up.
Yeah. Fastcart asks, why are you all starting on daylight savings time? Shiver hasn't switched yet, and you know from last night, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many or the one.
It's the
Because
ship
it's
out of
actually-
danger.
Because it's earlier for Shiver. Like that's the worst part. It's like it's actually like
It's
What?
4 instead of 5. Wait,
yeah.
no.
So
It's 8 o'clock right there, Shiver?
It's 7:20.
Holy crap.
yeah, so it starts at 6:30. So it's a lot. So instead of having it starting at
Yeah.
7:30, I don't know. Most people come onto the captain's table are appreciative of that kind of thing because they're like, "Yay, you get done at midnight instead of 3." You know.
Wait. Since when is it a 3-hour difference time change?
Well, the problem, yes.
Fast Cart also asks, this is going to be my rant for the weekend. CIG is selling a green Phoenix for St. Patrick's Day. Where's my black Phoenix for Black History Month? Why didn't they discount the Black Star Citizen t-shirt and or the Black Star Citizen baseball cap? Where do I go to get my reparations for this slight?
I know. All right, can I get on a soapbox here for a second?
Go, Paul. Soapbox away, Paul.
All right. So, I said this during Black History Month because Fairasol. Now it's Fast Cart's new name. Fast Cart made a joke about how like what are you doing to celebrate Black History Month? But and I said CIG really doesn't emphasize the diversity in Star Citizen, and it to a degree it does, but it really doesn't. And that's still a big problem for me. And it's one of those things I'm really worried about with Squadron 42 is how whitewashed Star Citizen could be in a time period when you have like the writers have taken the time to be like, let's take this crazy ass name, you know, from Japan and mix it with this crazy ass name from like West Africa. And that's this guy's name because it's the diverse future where everyone's different. It's like, great, cool. But everyone's white. Like there's one black guy on the whole goddamn ship in that we've seen so far. And it's like, really? It doesn't seem right at all. That's one of my biggest concerns. And it's not like, oh no, we need to have diversity. It's like, no. We're in the future where everyone's supposed to be diverse and diversity is white.
I will say that they have actually done a decent job in ATVs recently of showing off, like anytime they show off the character customizer, they are showing off like African Americans in the character customizer. They've actually shown more black customizations than white person customizations in my mind. But for the like
that, for me, that's
for the story of Squadron
important,
42.
But I'm talking about like
no.
For instance, right now we have 2 mission givers, both white. We have 1 black Marine that we've seen in Star Citizen so far in Squadron 42. And it looks like he's going to play a role, but he's the only one.
Well, you can tell just by looking at the cast list, right? I mean, you can't exactly cast a white actor to play a black character. At least you bloody well better not, CIG.
Well,
Have you seen Short Circuit 1 and 2?
No.
Bluesy's also right. I mean, I'm not just saying blacks. It's also like we have, like, you know, you're missing just a whole group of people that exist. Like Chinese and Indians are the largest population on the planet right now, but I have not seen an Indian character in Squadron 42.
And if you think about one of the most loved,
this sounds really like SJW stuff, and I'm not trying to sound like that. What I'm really trying to say is like, why? It seems weird that they take all of this time and effort to write in a bunch of diversity in terms of names and characters. Anthony Tanaka is a huge character in lore. He's the one that sparked the really revolution that would eventually overthrow the Mezzers. And his name's Anthony Tanaka. Like,
yeah.
But other than that, like, there's really not a lot of visual representation.
And it isn't just blacks. It's every ethnicity that isn't white.
Yeah. And,
So
I didn't mean to get super serious about it, but it's one of those things that I've always been kind of like, CIG, come on, you have the ability. You obviously want diversity, but it's not there. Like, character customization is great. That's expected, you know, especially in a game like Star Citizen. You want to have every color, including like green and purple, as you know, as character customizations. You know, it's an open world sandbox. It's industry standard to do that. But beyond that,
I agree
there's
with
a couple of
people are people, and I never thought about skin color until you guys brought it up. And now that you're thinking about it, Is that just because there's lots of white people and I never noticed? Am I so racist I don't even realize it?
Yes.
Well, all right. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt Paul for a while because I feel like it. So I'm actually I was thinking about this because I actually remember there was the GIF from the Living Idris episode that actually showed all the characters. So I've been going through while you guys have been talking. There are 4 black characters, but only 2 that are noticeably Asian. But one of the things I noticed is that the variety in skin color is very wide. Like there's a lot of people who could be Middle Eastern. You know,
that's fine. I haven't gone through the entirety of the Living Idris stuff, so that's to be fair. But it still feels.
I should probably paste this into chat.
Yeah.
There.
It's a touchy.
So what you're saying is that you would be happy, like me, with a female Asian strong captain. I couldn't think of anyone immediately that comes to hand that could be cast in that role.
Oh, my general point is that I feel like CIG could add more diversity. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, I don't want no politics in my games, but there is a lot of people in video games who play video games who aren't white. And those people those are the people who will, like, those gamers are the people who immediately notice when they feel like they're underrepresented. Now, in some cases, it doesn't make any sense, like Kingdom Come Deliverance. It takes place in fucking Central Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Not many colored people in Central Eastern Europe. But this takes place in the far-off future. Yeah. This just takes place off in the far-off future where, everyone is humanity's one big giant jumble of
Hang on.
fuck.
I think Topher der Fleischer has a good point. You know who is really overrepresented in video games? Red-haired people. Think about how many people you see in real life with like bright red hair. Natural red hair, and then think about how many red-haired people you see in video games. They're everywhere in video games.
That's because people like redheads, but there aren't very many of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless they're in Ireland.
Okay, let's move on a little bit.
Let's move on. Sorry, I didn't mean. I needed to get onto that soapbox only because it's one of those few things that I really, in terms of how that everything's represented with Star Citizen, that I feel like could be improved. But that's just me.
It's we are a soapbox here. We can soapbox as much as we want. Fastcart also asks, in the GIF where the Reclaimer lands in front of the outpost, can you imagine what it might be like to be inside that outpost with the Reclaimer landing in front of it? How freaked out would you be if you were inside? Honestly, you probably wouldn't even know
Don't crush me.
You probably wouldn't even know that it was landing until it was like immediately. You'd be sitting there eating your dinner and the Reclaimer's coming down, and then it hits ground and everything would shake because
it's VTOL, man. It would be
for like earthquake.
Oh, man, yeah, that'd be pretty freaky. Yeah,
that thing's VTOL. You would be very loud.
Yeah.
You would be like, who is killing me? Death from above.
So definitely not a stealth approach.
No.
Especially
Ghost,
with a ship that's that heavy.
Ghost says that you can't reclaim outposts. Maybe, but can I use the claw to wrench open the doors and reach inside and grab you and then reclaim your flesh and bone?
This is not the Halloween episode. This is the St. Patrick's Day episode.
All right. I'm sorry. Fiddle-dee-dee potatoes.
Maybe I could chase one of them down, and when I catch you, you give me a crock of gold and a wish.
Hey, I need some more beer.
Yeah, especially with that accent.
Yes.
What the bloody hell do you think you're doing? You sounded more Welsh than anything, boyo. You're meant to be sounding Irish.
I'm sorry, but everyone from that little tiny speck of land sounds the same to me. Whether it be Irish or Welsh or British or Scottish.
What do you think you're doing? You sound like a thundering poof.
Speaking of racist, there we go. Next, he's going to
Okay.
talk about little potato boats and
Next-
Fiddle
Irish
dee potato.
How many
question.
potatoes does it take to starve an Irishman? None.
0.
Look at this service. I didn't even have to leave.
Wow. Was she like watching?
I don't know if she was watching.
She must have been.
Were
My
you
beer
watching, or
sense
did
is
you just
tingling.
hear me say I need beer?
I can hear you from upstairs saying that.
You didn't hear the intro.
No, I'm gonna go though.
Do you want me to redo the intro for you?
Nope.
Oh no
you don't.
no.
Bye. Okay.
She knows by now.
Yeah. She knows. You'd think that all of you guys would know, but
Yeah. We're learning slowly.
the original Grib asks, why do you think that they need all those little landing feet that come out of each landing gear on the Reclaimer? That seems like it would have been very needlessly complex and performance robbing. It looks cool, but I just wonder why 1 or 2 each wouldn't have been better. I know that they spoke about this, but I couldn't understand.
It was, as far as I can understand, it's 100% rule of cool. Looks good,
Yep.
so they did it.
Yep.
It's not too bad on performance either, because once it's in the game, it all of that counts as one entity.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really cost them anything more in terms of performance.
Divorce papers and 3. So I'm gonna open this one up. This is the one beer that I got this week that I was really unsure about.
The
I'm gonna
one beer to rule them all.
No, it's the one that I'm scared about. It's a smoked
Honey.
and I've never heard of anything like that, and I'm really worried. So I'm going to do this now. In the meantime, Fastcart has a not really a question, but inspired by ATV, Merchantman Forever. I mean, I can't even smell it.
That's bizarre.
Wow. On Rate Beer, it has a 39%.
I mean, it doesn't really taste like smoked or honey or anything.
It's just
Is
beer.
it an ale?
I don't even, it just says beer with honey. Smoked honey, lightly smoked, easy drinking. It's a brown ale. Yeah, I'm
And
really
it's
not
gone.
sure.
No, it's back.
I'm really not sure. That's weird. Okay. So, Fastcart says, more from my rant since you need more questions. We do. We've got another like 25 minutes and only 4 questions to go. I can hear some show tunes calling. Fastcart says, more from my rant since you need more questions. Do you want a green Phoenix? Wouldn't a black Phoenix be better, especially for 350 USD? Okay. So
Dude, Black
straight
Phoenix
up,
is pretty cool.
Black Phoenix would be pretty cool. Hang on, though. Straight up, I'm kind of disappointed in CIG with all of the weird sales and weird things that they've been selling lately. It's not even just chips anymore. It's just like, hey, we're going to support St. Patrick's Day and sell green chips because, but you've never done this before. Why? Oh, because. But what about, like, they're throwing everything out there, and it makes me kind of worried. It makes me kind of concerned. It's like, why are you guys trying so much to sell so much when there's still not that much more to the game, and you keep trying and keep pushing? And now, and I mean, I follow Disco Lando on Twitter, and I tend to follow him on Twitter for outside of Star Citizen things. And to be honest, normally he's pretty good, and he doesn't do anything outside of Star Citizen. He has great tweets about Star Wars and Star Trek.
He
And
watches nothing but Star Trek all the damn time.
yeah, and he's really knowledgeable about that, and I'm really interested. And recently he had this big list of all of his favorite Star Wars movies in order. And I think he's completely wrong because What's the standalone?
Rogue One.
Rogue One is definitely better than Phantom Menace and Disco, you're a poop. But there was one
Nope, he's
point.
here. Hey, Disco, you here?
I don't know if he's here, but there was one point where he was tweeting about one particular sale because he liked the ship, and I don't even remember what it was, but it seemed so weird, and it seemed to me like CIG are pushing more than they used to, but that just might be me. But when it comes to the green ships, I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't
Are
like...
they pushing more? Because wasn't it at one point last year there was a concept sale every other month?
There was
I don't
That's
care.
what I was thinking.
I
They're-
don't give a
they're-
shit
Yeah.
because I'm not going to buy
You
them.
don't have to. Yeah.
I know, I'm
Yeah.
not. But
And-
I'm
and-
more okay with concept sales than I am with we're going to turn the ships green and sell that. And,
But no,
and
but
it-
most of
I
the
know
ships-
it's
They
still
only turned
there's
one
so-
ship green. The other ones were just green ships to
Green
begin with.
already. Yeah, like the
Fine.
the Delta, both of the
Gladius
Vanguard.
thing. Or wait,
the
the Gladius
Gladius-
is already on sale.
Yeah, no, but the Gladius, like specialty Gladius.
Oh, yeah.
That one is because the regular Gladius is black. Then you had the Harbinger and it was the Vanguard and the Hoplite are the ones that they're also selling.
Mhm.
And you know what? I'm okay with them selling the Delta because they should be selling the Delta all the time.
it should be
They don't.
default.
But then again, I don't like forced scarcity. Like they do about all this shit all the time. The forced scarcity bullshit. It doesn't work. I think it would if they just let everyone buy stuff all the time. Then when some guy comes into the game and plays the game and is like, "Oh my god, I want to buy all the ships. Let's find the perfect ship for me," and they find like, hey, I want to buy a Super Hornet. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't buy a Super Hornet.
I am okay.
Why?
what-
Oh, because we only sell it at the holiday sale.
yeah. Well,
Okay,
one of the
then
things
I'd like to buy
mentions...
a Delta. No, we can't sell the Delta either. It's like, what? Why?
One of the things Mitachi mentions is that they are now doing much longer sales. The sales last a lot longer, which
There's
I'm very okay with because they'll often have a 1 week sale, but it's not my pay week.
Mhm.
I have no money. I can't,
Mm-hmm.
But it does also extend to the why not just sell it all the time. At the same time, there are some ships that straight up shouldn't be sold all the time, like the 890 Jump. There should only be.
But no one's saying sell all the 890 Jumps. Anything that was like exclusive in terms of like they have numbers that they
Yeah.
want to sell, don't bother that. But like the Super Hornet is not a number limited
yes,
ship.
Exactly. There should be some ships that are limited to this is the number of ships, and then there's others. I mean, the Genesis didn't do well as a sale, right? I think personally that the Genesis was too early. If they left the Genesis up for sale constantly, it might do better now that there's more to the game, because when it first was announced,
I
what was
think
it
the
gonna
be?
huge thing with the Genesis as well was the gameplay. Although it's a very cool idea, I think most people just looked at it and went, "That's really cool. It's not what I want to be doing in Star Citizen. I'll leave that to someone else who wants to mix
Yes.
strengths." But it's cool that it's there and it is that deep for like the fives of people that want it.
I'm sorry,
the-
Paul.
the-
Your
the-
yellow, your yellow is so close to the default green that it just sees through your shirt.
Hold on. I can change that. Hold on. I can change
No,
that.
it's me.
and
I'm
I-
really bad at.
There we go.
I'd like to point out as well
There you
that the Cutlass Black is always on sale.
Yeah,
It is. But the blue and red aren't.
you're pointing that out to Fastcart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nakara.
Just thought I would mention, since it seems to be in the topic of this conversation. We haven't mentioned yet, but Star Citizen hit $180 million yesterday.
Can we stop talking about this?
There's one more thing I want to mention. What, Star Citizen?
No, 180. I don't like the fact that like people seem to celebrate every time we reach more money, because at this point it's like grass is green, the sky is blue, and Star Citizen makes $1 million.
I celebrated at
couple
50.
weeks.
I celebrated at 100. I celebrated at 150. I'm going to celebrate it again at 200.
But the problem is that people like at 180, all I see is people going, this game has this much money and it's still never going to be made, lol, or
Yeah.
this game is in super trouble and they've made 180 million and they're never going to get, oh well, this game only cost 50 million and it's the best game of all time, so why can't you why does it cost, you know,
I
like this
have the
kind of
key
bullshit.
for you, Paul. You have to stop caring what other people think.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't. It's not that I. It's not that. It's just that I'm tired of seeing like these kind of discussions pop up every once in a while. It's like, why don't you just shut the fuck up? Because it's gonna hurt your blood pressure more than anything if you're just gonna worry about this bullshit. But you know, whatever.
Okay, so
Okay.
I want to. We've got a couple more questions that we're going to go through. So,
This is a really good question.
Fastcart says, how many of the cast wish CIG would put a ship engine on the Cyclones racing variant?
Yes.
Yep.
Doesn't have
That
to be
was
a
an
Cyclone
amazing
variant.
idea. I love that
any
was the
land vehicle.
first idea.
Yep. Unanimous. Fastcart.
I mean, it's. Have you not played GTA 5 with that like that?
That's
there's a car that has like that jet engine in the back. It's slow as fuck, but you hit the jet engine, suddenly you're going like at 400 miles an hour down the road.
Oh, I wanted to mention something I think we should celebrate at least more than the money. We are very, very, very close to hitting 2 million citizens.
That is important.
It's literally 1995 right now.
Really?
So, yeah. Probably
that
the
is a
next
hell of a
week-
lot more important than the money.
The next week there'll be 2 million citizens.
Yeah. So Fastcart also asks, who from the cast is going to try to compete up against Hezgahaha et al. During the St. Patrick's Day screenshot contest?
No
Not
way
a
in hell
chance.
he's gonna win.
No, he's got that.
I mean,
The only way I would win is if I got absolutely bonker ass drunk in game and then passed out somewhere, and then submitted that in a bar. Like
we're
had
going to
screenshot
do that
pop-
later, aren't we?
Yeah,
Isn't that what
yeah,
the pub later tonight's going to be?
That's exactly what the pub later
Good.
tonight's going to be. So.
Because I stocked
And
up,
then-
man.
Oh goddamn! Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Miss Hartz. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm sorry. See, I'm
Oh,
actually.
you got Miss Hart's on as well.
Yes, Miss Hartz. We've got Miss Hartz, Lieutenant Dan, and C Dizzle are on with Eris. It's just
I
gonna be-
stocked
Oh,
up.
that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stocked up and I warned Mrs. Eris in advance.
I want to
Sorry-
know what
sorry,
that warning
Paul.
consisted of.
Sorry, Paul.
I'm gonna get right proper drunk on St. Paddy's
There's
Day.
gonna be some really great. There's gonna be some really great clips tonight.
Yes, I'm gonna have to go back and delete all of them. once I get-
Yeah, Twitch guidelines. What are those?
I'll just
Fast-
make sure to have the relay_SC account as the one you're representing. So when they want to ban someone, they ban relay, and they can all ask why. Oh, I don't know.
Fastcart asks, would Paul say this for me? The Reclaimer. It's gone from suck to blow.
The Reclaimer. It's gone from suck to blow.
Very good.
I get that Spaceballs reference. I get it. Keep firing, assholes.
Forge Lord has asked what Nakara?
We have 3 questions left.
I know.
People, come on.
And 15 minutes. I can't wait to sing some show tunes.
5 minutes on each question. We can make this work.
I'll
Forge
get my
Lord.
soapbox out.
I'm sure they're sensible, in-depth, deep, philosophical questions that we can spend as much time to just discuss and go into great detail on.
This is a really bad beer, by the way.
Yeah, it does have. I mentioned this. Rated at 39% on rape beer or
It's
whatever.
quite poor. Forge Lord asks, can Don Cherry have his suit back?
I don't know who that's directed at.
I'm
I
not
think it's
entirely
directed at
sure.
Paul?
I mean, I think Paul is more Don Cherry than I am today.
Today.
I don't know who Don Cherry is, but
I know.
You're not Canadian.
Because you're not Canadian.
Don Cherry.
Oh, man.
Don Cherry is a national
A legend.
Canadian icon. He's also your racist grandfather.
God.
And if you recall earlier in the show, I made a reference to frogs
seconds.
and 10 seconds. That's because Don Cherry insulted all French people and was put on a 10-second delay by the CBC, which is Canada's national broadcasting conglomerate
Yeah.
for hockey. He's a hockey commentator, and he was calling.
Oh, so they can have a dump button for him. They need
Yes.
to put him on delay so they can
Yes,
put a dump
they
button on.
put him on a delay because he is your racist grandfather.
Oh,
He's
no.
also like in his mid 80s now. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I also really like this suit because it's harder to tell in this light, but it's very like futuristic.
I
kind of
really
sci-fi.
like that vest.
Yeah, it does look.
Like,
that
I
looks
really
good.
like that vest. That vest is fantastic. I'm actually wearing a vest as well today, which you can't tell
Yeah.
because I'm hiding in a Star Wars robe, but your vest is excellent.
Thank you.
Haramis asks, can we start the show again? Daylight savings time is not yet in Europe. Yeah, sure. I've got the intro right here. It must be nice. I'm not going to
Throw
They'll
something
kill
at him.
me.
Help us, Kath.
No, she left. She's off doing something about my birthday. I don't know what. It scares
You have a
me.
birthday?
Yeah. In
Well, that's good.
1 month exactly.
Oh, that's advanced planning. Props to her.
I know, and it scares me because I never play that much. Fastcart asks, when Star Citizen reaches 2 million citizens, what should citizens receive as a prize?
Kick up the arse and be glad of it.
Pretty much.
4.0.
No, the 2 million citizen needs to get a
Bengal.
a handwritten card from Chris Roberts that says, "Thanks for buying the game."
Thanks
That's
for
it.
buying the JPEGs.
No. It'll be an
It's like a
Also-
blank white card. There's not even anything on it.
Also, the 2 million citizen will also end up on the base radio because the base radio just likes to have
The million
Million.
citizens. Yep.
yes.
It'll be a
So
card inviting the 2 millionth citizen to come and watch Chris Roberts eat for the privileged cost of $450.
$450. Yes.
Jack Avalon asks, what sort of sciencey things would you want to see and or interact with? Because talk about mining and salvage has dominated for the last 6 months. That is a fantastic fucking question, and it is entirely central to one of my favorite ships, which is the Endeavor, and we still have no fucking idea what the Endeavor is going to do.
Because they haven't thought about it yet.
I know.
Science.
No. That's not the answer because I know that Tony Zervak has the entire thing in his head.
Yes.
Yeah, but
The entire thing.
The difference between it in Tony's head and them actually working on it is like literally light years apart.
I'm pretty sure.
It
No,
literally take a light year for them to figure that out.
You said nobody's thought of it. I'm sure that Tony
Tony
knows
has, yes.
the entire thing.
The problem
It's
is,
in his head.
Tony knows.
I mean,
Tony has planned out everything.
Yep.
It's a matter of getting it out of his brain pan.
That's right. That's why he works so closely with the game designers, though, because he's like, it needs to work like this, and they're like, okay.
Uh,
All right.
Desynced asks, do you think we should be sending people to Mars if eyes don't do well in space?
I should do well on Earth. I
yeah.
just terrible designs.
So
I'll put it
my
this way-
left eye for the past year or so won't stop focusing. Like even if I'm staring at something, it just focuses in and out, in and out, in and out constantly.
Have you got your macro setting on?
Yes.
You should probably go get that looked at.
Eyes are fucked.
Yes, they
Well,
are.
no, our eyes are actually literally they're actually designed originally to look in water. Eyes evolved to see through water, and then those same kind of eye designs that we have are the same design, same as most of the other land mammals, and it just was kind of an evolutionary trend. Just the reason why your eyes have to be like immersed in water in order to be able to see anything because of the
I feel like
refraction.
you're some kind of teacher or something on here.
I used to teach biology. God damn it. Anyways, the point is that eyes are just going to do bad everywhere because they're not designed for space. They're not even designed for land.
But-
We're barely
No.
functioning.
and
That's
it's
the reason
not
why
even
everyone has glasses now.
it's not even the eyes. How much of your bone density do you lose when you're in space? Most of it. Nothing's designed
Not
for
most
I
of it,
hate
space.
DNA changes.
The real truth is that, I mean, Mars is better than than
Most.
space.
Yep.
It at least has gravity. I mean, it's much more than the moon. But the truth is, and this is something you need to understand, it's the same as when people explored North America coming across the ocean. Some people aren't going to do very well in Mars. People are going to die. And
Musk.
that is, yeah, it's exactly what I was going to say. I give huge props to Elon Musk because he has not backed off that at all. He's like, people are going to die.
Yep.
It's just the way it works. This is not a safe journey. It's not going to be for the light, the lighthearted or whatever.
For anyone who's interested, look up the Roanoke colony.
Yep.
That's all you need to know.
Yep.
Just imagine that, but on Mars, because that's probably what's going to happen. Look up the starving time in Jamestown. That's also probably what's going to happen and they had oxygen, and they had like Native Americans who could trade with them, and they had water, and they had ships coming in back and forth all the time. Like,
yeah,
it is
we are going to send people to Mars, but it's going to be dangerous and people will die. Hopefully not all of them.
Yeah.
but still, it's one of those people, or it's one of those things that we need to start talking about now, because when it eventually happens, people need to be mentally prepared for the fact that that is what's going to happen. And it's one of those things, like NASA is really, over the years, has really gone towards the no risk direction, but people need to remember that's not how it started. When I was reading again this week, Nixon had a speech prepared for when Armstrong and Aldrin landed on the moon, because they actually didn't know if the ascent vehicle to get them back off the moon would work. So he had a speech prepared that was basically Armstrong and Aldrin died on the moon, because it was a very real possibility.
It was an Apollo. Well, I think it was an Apollo crew that were killed during the rehearsal because the capsule was on fire.
Apollo 1, yeah. Yeah, they had no way to get out.
That's a horrible. Yeah.
Bringing this back to Star Citizen, you will probably also die in Star Citizen. It's a dangerous universe.
Yeah, and Death of a Spaceman actually lends some weight to dying in Star Citizen. One of the things I find really interesting about the game. You won't just be like, hey, I'm back. Eventually, you're going to die once, and you're going to be like, hey, I'm not back.
Yep. Hey, I got to make a new character. Now
And
I sit through this cutscene of my character getting a funeral.
I can actually say it does kind of work, because I've been playing Sunless Sea a lot lately, and they have the same mechanic. In fact, they tell you right at the beginning, your first captain will die. And it's like, oh, great. But yeah, you inherit some of their belongings and you start again, and
it's like a roguelite.
Yep. All right, what else do we have?
One more question.
Sure.
When do you think drinkable booze will be in game?
Been there for a long time. In fact,
yeah,
a couple years.
Not in the PU though.
No.
Well, it's in the game though.
That was the question that I asked. All right.
Oh,
but it specifically says not the Astropub Aster.
Yeah.
No, honestly though, when do you think something like that's going to happen? Because that's a huge immersion thing. I think when that gets added, we'll also be seeing food and other things added in terms of the survival aspects.
Very soon, considering you can do it in the hangar.
I still want to know more about the food aspects and the survival aspects, because they've talked about how.
Oh, that'll.
What
I think that'll be very late in
the
development.
corner and hope for the best.
I think it'll probably come around when we have the new health mechanics, because they've been talking about new health.
Yeah.
This not happening this year, but they've been talking about it in the near future. So it has to happen before beta. And if they really do want to push beta out sometime next year or 2020, which is what they seem to be implying heavily, then they're going to need to do it sooner than later.
Man, there's some really good questions in the second.
There are some excellent questions. Thanks to everyone who got your questions in late. We will get to them next week, though. We'll start with them, and there's almost enough that I might not even have to threaten to sing next week, which is fantastic. I do want to hit one last question.
You will anyway.
I will anyway, yeah. I do want to hit one last question because it was Reddit on here. It's the where we end. So, Hera Muff to the Harry asks, are you disappointed that they didn't talk about hangers this episode?
They did.
They did.
Well, they talked about hangers this week. They talked about it on
RTD?
Calling All Devs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Calling All Devs. And they said they are going to be, they need to rework them because they have to make them modular so that they can put them into cities. But they should be ready. In their super optimistic schedule, like everything's going to go perfectly. They have them in at the end of the year. But they're basically saying we're not putting them in the schedule yet because we don't want to miss, you know?
Yeah. And it explains a lot about why we don't have multi-crew hangars right now. It's because they need to make sure that it works with in-game assets.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
They need to fit into the city so you can actually have them physically in the world. So yeah. Anyway, that's the deal.
Yep. So yeah, there's like 15 other questions. We'll get to those next week. Thank you, everyone who asked a question. Shiver, what do you got coming up this week?
Just dead air this week for me. Wednesday on the base.
Awesome. Nakara?
Not a lot. This show probably next weekend.
More than likely, yes.
And transcriptioning things. You know?
Yes. Thanks as always to all the transcriptioners.
I have a very, very short anecdote I want to share.
Go.
If that's okay. So one of the things I read, I've been doing a lot of reading about SpaceX as usual recently. One of the things that they did on one of the early CRS missions was they found a crack in the engine right before liftoff on the second stage engine. So the one that's actually supposed to take Dragon up to the International Space Station. It was a crack in the engine bell. And NASA was like, oh, crap, it's going to be like a month to delay this mission because they have to replace the bell on the engine. And SpaceX was like, what if we just cut around the crack? And they're like, it should work. So they flew a guy out to Cape Canaveral with a pair of like shears, like metal shears, and just cut the part that was cracked off the engine bell. And they're just like, just launch it. We're good. Work great.
What? Like without the crack? Like they just cut it out?
They just cut the crack. Like, so the crack was at the bottom of the engine bell. So they just cut like that part of the engine bell off. And then they just launched it. And it worked great.
I'm sure there's some performance like decrease as a result, but
they had huge margins on those Dragon missions.
Yeah.
They had way there was nowhere near the capability of the limit of the capability of the rocket.
Yeah.
So they had huge margins. They're just like, we can totally afford the performance loss. You're good. And NASA was even like, well, there's no reason it won't work. So all right.
Do it. Gotta love NASA. Paul, what do you got coming up?
Well, I've fallen in love with Deep Rock Galactic, so I'll probably play that a lot of that here shortly. Maybe some more experimenting with Star Citizen. But today at in about 2 hours, we'll be doing Captain's Table. So we're gonna be getting drunk and talk about Star Citizen. So like every other week, but now it's fantastic.
If you ever need some company in Deep Rock Galactic, let me know.
Will do.
I'm going to ask you both. Is it worth buying in early access, or would you wait?
Here's the thing: they add new things all the time. I didn't expect this when I first played it, but it's if Left 4 Dead and Warframe had a baby.
So here's the thing. I think Deep Rock Galactic is pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. It shows a lot of promise.
Shiver's facial expressions are great.
Unfortunately, Paul, have you played any Vermintide 2?
Yes.
I love Vermintide 2.
What's that like?
It's very similar to Vermintide. They're both very similar to Vermintide, but like the thing is like, so Vermintide and Deep Rock Galactic both are based off that Left 4 Dead formula.
Yes.
And the difference between Vermintide and Deep Rock Galactic, I think, is that Vermintide is done and it's going to have a runtime of a couple more months, and that's going to be done. I think Deep Rock Galactic is constantly adding updates, and they're just tweaking it. Like, for instance, there was a mission I played yesterday, which I'd never done before, which was, hey, find these like little rare gems and you basically don't leave at all, like leave like one cavern.
Yep.
But you're just constantly bombarded by aliens instantly. I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm used to getting like the like Morkite missions, which is the standard one.
Yeah.
And I've done the execution ones where you go around trying to kill.
There's like 3
the,
types
like,
of
the
missions.
Leviathans. Yeah. And the how versatile the system is. It's like I could see them doing variations on all of these things for continuing on, and because of its rotation, how they rotate, like every day they have certain maps that are open, and then they rotate and they have other maps that are open. It means that you can play some things, you can earn almost anything you need to, but it's also it's not a grindy game. It's just the missions take a long time to do, like 30 minutes to an hour each.
Yep.
So it's one of those games that has longevity built in because it's fun. Even like that hour-long game, it's fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. The mining system is great. It kind of feels like there's a really heavy cap to how much you can level and how much you can get new stuff. Like there isn't much to earn yet, but it is also pretty early. Again, I think that Deep Rock Galactic has an incredible amount of future potential. For right now, fun. I'm all about Vermintide.
I don't know. I think I enjoy it better than Vermintide only because of the extraction. Like the mineral extraction stuff is a little bit more unique.
I think that's Vermintide's
it's also
biggest problem right now.
Isn't Vermintide also like $40, $50?
It's cheaper.
Is it cheaper?
It's less expensive actually. Like it's not. Let's go to the store page
Because
for me,
Deep Rock Galactic is $35.
For me,
US.
Vermintide is $32. 32 Canadian.
Wow.
Canadian, yeah.
So it's like 25 American. It's relatively cheap for a complete experience.
Deep Rock Galactic is 28.
Yeah.
So they're really close.
They're really close. Vermintide is done. It's also done really well the past few weeks. It's got like 500,000 sold, which is great for the devs. It's great to see someone doing a Left 4 Dead that isn't Valve, because Valve doesn't make games anymore. I do want to ask you one more question though before we go. One, there's the pub coming up in 2 hours, so be sure to check us out on that. But two, I have seen you doing a fair bit of fun in Sea of Thieves.
Oh, this week I almost forgot about.
I was wondering why you didn't mentioning Sea of Thieves, because like
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. I am not addicted to Sea of Thieves. I don't have stuff laid out for Sea of Thieves that's been chilling here since early or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. We're doing launch night. Like I usually don't stream on Mondays. I'm doing launch night on Monday, and Tuesday is the official launch day. I have another game to play, but on Wednesday I'm going balls deep.
Are you going to try and get that golden banana?
For you.
No. I almost thought about it, but no.
I was thinking about it.
Is Sea of Thieves a good game?
Yes.
Okay. Do you like Star Citizen?
For the money.
Do you like Star Citizen?
Yes.
Do you like Star Citizen because of its potential as an open world sandbox?
Yes.
Imagine Star Citizen, but with on the high seas and simplified. It's basically the same kind of fun you get with Star Citizen. Now, for $60, it may be a little much, but if you have an Xbox One, you can get the Game Pass, which is $10. And I think, honestly,
you can on PC as well, I believe.
I don't know if it works for PC. Last time I checked, it doesn't work for PC.
Oh, really?
Game Pass doesn't work for PC.
Okay.
But the thing is that if you have Xbox Anywhere, so if you have an Xbox One and you have a Game Pass and you activate it on your Xbox, then you can play it on your PC.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So it's a weird kind of like loophole.
Can't you just lie and say you have an Xbox? And then...
No, because you have to activate it on your Xbox. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's really fun because of the multi-crew, the open world. I will say that it's one of those games that, like Destiny or Division, that if you don't dedicate a significant amount of time to it early on and understand all the mechanics, then you can kind of get lost. But unlike those two, it does not loot based, so you don't just like. So it's a little bit more. It's like baby's first live service. light MMO.
Yeah.
Because it's super easy for anyone to get into it. So if you're interested in that kind of game, but you're like, you know what, I don't like having to pay for microtransactions for loot boxes to be able to get better gear. So it's a little bit better. It's still going to have microtransactions. It's still going to have for cosmetics and that kind of stuff. But
it does still have some problems right now. Chief among them, there's no fishing yet.
there's never going to be fishing.
There will be
Not gonna be
fishing.
fishing.
No, there will be
It's gonna be
fishing.
fishing.
The head of the development said that he doesn't think it's very piratey. So I doubt it's going to be.
It's going to happen. There's so much
What if
demand
you-
for it from the community. Think about the Rex. Rex fishing should act like Rex, as in there's like a specific point where you can fish, and you can fish up fish to act as trophies, or there's a chance for a chest. That is fishing.
I gotta
Make
tell you,
everyone happy. Done.
I really don't think that he can think that it's not piratey as much as he wants. I guarantee you that pirates fished.
They did.
Yeah.
What you do is, for pirate fishing, you set it up so it's like pirate fishing. You have to point a gun at the water and threaten it.
And that is going to be it for us today. If you want to fish with some more pirates, check the Astropub out in 2 hours, where I will be drinking significantly more, to the point that Prawl is probably going to cry for having me on during St. Patrick's Day. But it's my national holiday as a half Irishman, and he can't blame me.
Half
but I can't conquer
Irishman,
you.
half
I'm sorry.
Italian, half Canadian.
No, half Irish, half Italian, 100%
All
Canadian.
said Canadian.
See how angry he got when he said that? That's because he plays hockey.
See you guys later.
See you later.